right, let's get into it. A Zero. We haven't only seen, I think, 1 or 2 of those so far.
Yeah, he's like 12 days old, so.
All right, so still a baby, but what is the baby up to?
So my buddy and I, we've been playing this game for like 15 years very casually, but we really started playing seriously in like March. And we wanted to see how far we could progress just as a duo. But we kind of ran into a problem with the classes we picked, where we just felt like we were actually doing more harm to each other than good. We were playing Dual Blade and Wind Archer, which like on their own, really good tools, but kind of counterproductive when you put them together.
Right, because they both have like the decoy.
Yeah, exactly. And so controlling the boss aggro was just an absolute nightmare. And we found soloing bosses was easier than duoing, so we kind of went back to the drawing board. And when I heard Zero was being released, that was my favorite class as a kid, so I went that way, and he's playing Paladin. So we lack a little bit of damage, but we just have utility off the charts now.
Yeah, or the amount of IED you guys would have.
Yeah. So
both have 50%.
Exactly. So we're trying to speedrun back to where we were, which was Lomian, or I guess Lotus. We didn't quite have the damage for Damien yet. And we wasted so much money before. So we're trying to do it more efficiently this time.
Right, okay. So, alright, and so what have you reached to so far with this guy?
So we're doing carries with our other characters right now, so I think we could probably do a 3-door pretty easily. I mean, I know we could, but I don't know about Cvel yet, just because mechanically still getting used to the class. So we've kind of just been sitting on a bunch of equips. Like, you'll see my gear is pretty scuffed right now. I've gotten really lucky in some areas and really unlucky in others.
Right. So there'll be
but
some disparity.
Yeah, we just didn't want to waste any resources other than the... Okay, so I was told that it would take me like, maybe 10, 12 circulators to get legendary from unique. And I got kind of into this whole sunk cost fallacy thing, and I just kept going. And it cost almost 3 bill to get my legendary ability, and I've just been kicking myself for wasting that money. But other than that, I've been trying to save as many resources as possible, so...
Okay. 12 days with 2,000 fame. Yeah, there's some item that you can open up, like a letter or something. It gives you a bunch.
Once you buy the emblem, there's no reason to use the other coins in the Zero shop, so I've just been buying fame because I think it's funny.
Well, there you go. Alright, and so to which extent are you like up to speed with all the specific Zero exceptions? Because there's quite some.
Yep. So I joined the Zero Discord. There's this huge document they made that has all of the exceptions and Zero specific things in it. So I'm not really touching my normal Root Abyss hat that I got, the Royal Warrior helm. I'm waiting for my lucky helm. Kind of learned the weapon system for the most part. I got it to 17 star. I don't think I'll 22 star it until Arcane because I got really lucky with the potential. It needs to be reflamed and everything, but I feel pretty good about Zero specifics. I even feel pretty good about like what gear to get in different stages of the game. I know I did a lot of things really inefficiently, so I kind of want to get a outline on everything leading up to Absol and beyond.
Yeah. Okay. And then mainly in like account wise, or also or mainly equip wise, or just a combination of both?
Combination of both. A lot of like resource allocation is what I'm looking to maximize. And I have a couple of other random questions here and there about like, is it okay to pause our Legion right now? Because we pushed to 6K before we really started our characters. Just to try to get a good setup, but...
Yep, like in between the two.
Yep. I still need to level it up because I've been spending all my coins on E-Pot scrolls. But I should get that this week.
Those are so expensive when you think about it. Yeah, well, 6K Legion can help you do a lot. Like, so if you have, I did recently update the progression grid with like the new stuff because level 300 and new content and what have you. So the way I have it set now is that I think 6k Legion is probably just fine up until, yeah, so what I kind of put it as like 7k Legion up until like level 270 or something is probably fine.
Okay.
You know, maybe you get 8 here, but like it just depends on what you want. But if you're like at 6k and you're like at level 215, I think you're fine for quite a while. It's probably once you start doing like the Hard Will and Hard Lucid, and your party needs more damage and stuff, pushing the Legion at that point might be a good idea. But in your current situation, I would just wait until there's like a really good event that gets to a lot of free levels, for example, and then just go a bit harder in Legion. But until then, you're fine. You make a character when there's Terra Burn, and you know, maybe you do some Zakum runs every now and then to get everything up to 140. But other than that, I don't even know if you have that many to do that with. And the ones that you have probably don't even count for Legion at this point. So
yeah, I have like a couple that just don't matter that aren't 140, but
yeah, you'll just wait until there's like some bonking event going on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just mass push levels, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just kind of tired of leveling.
Yeah.
Legion right now because we went so hard on it. We had this like
make sure you
pulled up.
yeah, with all the priority lists and then this one.
Yep.
Yeah. Just make sure you don't burn yourself out on that. If you feel like you're kind of at your tax for that, then there's no fear of like being under leveled. Like you're totally fine on that. So you can definitely take a little bit of a foot off the gas, take a bit of a break.
Yeah, it was definitely worth it. I mean, I could feel the difference every time I got another character to 200 or whatever. But
so much faster than the last one, right?
Yep.
The one thing I would say, like about the Legion grid, and since you already mentioned, like you're partying with a Paladin as well, you could probably do with just moving the IED out and moving it into boss damage instead.
Okay, that was my question, because we went into a boss and I was like, I have so much IED, what is going on?
You probably have 99 visual, and then you have another, like 98 visual, but you have another 50 passive debuffed on the boss, so you're like...
Yeah, it was absurd.
Yeah, it's just way too high, because you also have the ID and the emblem, and I wouldn't re-roll that at this point, of course, because it also has 2 lines of attack. So with that, I feel like you're pretty confident, you know, maybe even without some link skills, I'm like 100% confident you could just throw the IED into boss damage instead, especially since you already said like you have Paladin 0, so you're not topping the charts when it comes to bossing damage output, so you probably need to optimize a little bit harder to make sure that you kill things in a timely manner.
Right.
So you don't have to like run the clock on everything. So that would be, for Links and Legion, that would be what I do. And if you do work more on Legion, I would just focus on the things that, or just have all the IED related stuff be a low priority.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did Luminous.
Yeah.
Because we needed IED very, very badly before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So. Now you're completely on the other side. Well, except he went from Dual Blade to Paladin, so he didn't need it to going to not needing it still, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I feel like you have most characters, right?
Pretty much. I mean, I was gonna ask, like, should I just suck it up and do Mercedes and Evan during the next burn? Because I mean, I know you've heard it a million times, but I don't like either one of the classes that much, so I just powered through without them up to this point. But I don't know.
What was your last?
Probably worth it.
Like Terra Burn and this one. What were the last 2 you did?
I need to finish the BT, which that'll be done by the end of the event. I've just been focusing on my 0 because I want to get to LAC.
Well, that one was the last
Kaiser,
burn, or?
My Kaiser was the other burn, and I just decided I didn't want the Arcane on him. I'd rather get it on the Beast Tamer, so.
Oh, yeah, I saw.
Or the Abso. Yeah.
Wait, that's a Fafnir, right? You mean the Abso?
The the Abso. I didn't mean Arcane. The Arcane is on my Dual Blade from the compensation.
Yeah, I see that. So that one's able to do weekly bosses up until Lotus Damien, probably? Looks
yeah,
kind of strong.
Not quite Damien, but Lotus. I'm sitting at like, I don't remember what stat I'm at, but I'm at like 9 mil range, 14 mil during burst. It's insane.
So you could like duo those if you wanted to just get them over with for the week or something like that.
Yep, we're just really bad at Damien, so.
Well, he is kind of annoying, so we are looking for those changes where he can finally be hit when he's there and doesn't hit you when he's not there, kind of thing, you know? Those changes you would expect like the week after release instead of 6 years after, but, you know,
Yeah.
Beggars can be
Actually,
choosers, I guess.
yeah. The one boss that we've struggled with, and I think it's just because I'm impatient, is Helix just keeping the bottom clear will like not be paying attention and die because of the nuggets. I don't know why, but that boss feels harder than Lotus on my dual blade, which I know shouldn't be the case, but
depending on the class, it can be. It's when they reworked it, it became really wonky. So for some classes that have some kind of summons they can leave down there, it's really easy. Or you know, if you can keep enough distance from Helix, then it's really easy. You can just stand at a distance and just wail on them, and it's fine. People who have to get closer or have to go down to kill the potatoes, like it does get tricky. You have to just and you only have one time, so there's more pressure on you. So mentally, that's not very helpful either.
Yep.
So
I'll just get befuddled and start panicking.
Yep. Yeah, or you get the fucking bomb on you, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
I will have had one time that I got that bomb on me. I waited until it was almost 0. I popped my iframe, held it for 5 full seconds, got out of the iframe, and then died because it just stayed on 0 for 5 seconds. I'm like, oh well, that's just a great way of just killing the players and no way to outplay the.
Yeah.
As long as you have buff freezers, then don't. But yeah, of course, if you were strong enough, then you don't have to panic. But I guess 0 can throw down the tornadoes, and those will skim across the floor, I guess. And
it's not nearly as bad. And burst step is so easy to get from platform to platform. So. I mean, I really liked playing my dual blade, but I'm very happy that I switched to 0.
Okay. Oh, you were the dual blader. What was your friend playing before?
He was playing Wind Archer. So
oh, he was Wind Archer. Right. Okay.
He's having some damage issues.
Yeah. Well, Wind Archer is pretty, kind of a slow starter as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, Gale Barrier was great for him, but it's just like we'd have the same stat, same everything, and he'd be doing like half my damage.
Yeah, dual blade just shoots out the gates immediately when you hit 5th job, and Wind Archer takes a while longer to get to that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. Right. Yeah. So that's one thing I would do. But otherwise, for Legion and Lynx, do you have any questions there on the setup or?
I guess maybe in terms of priority, like the next burn. I didn't know if it was worth just sucking it up and doing Mercedes and Evan, or if there were some other ones I should prioritize.
Well, if you do plan on eventually getting an 8K, I think Mercedes and Evan are good baselines to have just for yourself to level a bit faster and to get the whole Legion to 8K faster. And yeah, I would prioritize characters that you don't really enjoy. So if those are both characters you don't enjoy, then those would be prime candidates, I would say.
Okay.
And the only other thing I can think about that would benefit a lot from extra levels would be like the Demon Avenger, but that one's already bonked up there.
Yeah, I actually like that one too. I know it's a little slow, but I enjoy playing it, so it shouldn't be too bad.
And I guess we'd have like Shade and Hayato, for the extra crit damage is always nice.
Yeah, I know I need to do Night Lord and Marksman too.
Yeah, because one of your forms has like way lower crit rate than the other, right?
Yeah, I currently have to use the Phantom level 3 link just to get anywhere near 100 on beta.
Yeah, and it's with the event buff as well.
Yeah, yes it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that might be because of that. It might be a good idea to bump the Legion eventually, right? So you can build up some crit rate in the Legion instead.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we plan on going for AK. We just kind of wanted a break.
Yeah, no, totally allowed to take a break at this point. But in that way, the emblem is kind of saving you in the fact that you don't need to build up the whole block of Legion for IED, and instead you can trickle some into crit rate once you can do that. And that'll help you keep the 100% on your second form without really losing any of the boss damage, because, yeah, with both of your debuffs combined, like if you're at 80% visual, you're in a party with you two, then you're already at like 95, right?
Yeah, which is absurd. I have to.
So,
it was all visual for us before, like.
Yeah.
So I have to get into my head that I can be a little bit lower and it'll be okay.
Yeah, because then even the Explorer Mage is also, like, that's another active, like, you don't see that visually. The boost nodes, you don't see that visually. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff together. If you party with a
Awesome.
DA,
Yeah,
it's another 30% if you find one of those lying around. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll switch that over today then. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Nothing else when it comes to like the link skills or something. Anything you
No, I
remember
feel pretty
there?
good about that. We're pretty proud that we grinded that out before
Yeah.
we really started our characters. So
Yeah, it looks solid. Got all the good ones. Yeah. It's like the only thing to improve on is getting all the level 2s to level 3s, and that will, even that,
Yep.
that will still make a nice difference, because like 5% on the DS, 5% on this one, 5% on that one. So that's already like 15% between the ARC, the DS, and the DA. So that's like an extra link skill, basically, right?
Yep, those are my 3 closest ones too. I think they're 200, 195, and 183. So I just got to
Right.
power through those.
Good, good. Yeah, and the Beast Tamer that you already mentioned for
Yep.
a little bit of extra. Yeah. Other than that, I think you're set. I don't know to which extent zeros tend to use terms and conditions, because you do have some burst, but it's kind of limited. But maybe
Yeah,
that's
it's
why
like a
you
4
want
minute
it.
cooldown, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate. But I know that we have like a plethora of bind windows with Paladin and Zero, so it's probably good to get it.
Yeah, and you have great survivability on both of those, so you can really get those really long boss fights and just stretch out. Like once you get perfect character control to both of you, you guys can stay alive for so long.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. It's fun though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and because he links to you, part of his damage is reliant on you doing damage as well, so that might make terms and conditions a little bit more valuable again, when I think about it. Because of his link skill, right? Or like not link skill, but like the connection thing.
Yeah, I was taking AB slow at first because I didn't have Affinity Heart maxed, and I didn't realize that once you max that, you didn't have to recharge anymore, and it was the most miserable class I've ever leveled until I found that out. Now it's not bad.
Yeah, it was like that in the beginning when the class was just out for a long time, and so much that everyone was like, "What the fuck is this recharge thing? It's so annoying." And then but now with how quick it is to get to Force Job, it's like, it's not even an issue anymore. Only for like the first 30 minutes or something, and then you're like, "Oh, now I can just play the game normally."
Yep. Yeah, so I plan on that one's like 170, so that one should be pretty quick too.
Okay, nice. Yeah, as long as you got all that lined up, I don't see anything else we can really do there besides over analyzing it to death or something. So let's not do that.
Perfect.
Yeah, I guess for full map parties, you throw the Adele in there somewhere, or full party bosses. I mean.
Yeah, that's another one I haven't prioritized just because we're duoing right now, but
Exactly.
I know that one's important for later.
Okay, good shit. All right. So, Matrix-wise, well, you said you joined that Discord, so I guess Matrix-wise, you're pretty prepared for that as well.
Yep, I have 5 out of 6 of my perfect trios. I got them with the nodes I saved up, so I'm just trying to find that last one.
Nice.
And then I'm gonna buy out all the nodes in the event shop.
Yep.
I had some questions on what to spin because obviously our characters were started like a month late, so we're lacking a few stones. But nodes are our priority.
Yep.
There's just some leftover stones. I don't know if we should buy one of the event rings because we have no rings, or if we should go for symbols.
You guys are basically just like kind of mirroring your progress together.
As much as possible, just to keep track of it. A lot of the things we need are pretty similar too, because we're supporting warriors.
Yep.
And we both have high IED, low crit, stuff like that. So.
Except you have some weird weapon and combo shenanigans.
That's the big difference. Yep.
Yeah, you got those shields and those HP bars and everything. Yeah, you got a lot of similarities going. Yeah, that's true. And also mobbing. Well, I guess mobbing wise, you probably take the cake though of the two.
Oh my God, Zero's, especially compared to Dual Blade, so fast.
Yeah, Dual Blade is not. Yeah, not. Really
I didn't understand why people complained about Dual Blade because I was enjoying it.
You need the contrast, right? Yeah, and then you're like, oh, this is also possible, right?
I see.
I see now. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes a step back on context can like make you understand why people would say certain things. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about my V Matrix. I guess my question was, how far should I take my boost nodes before maxing Holy Symbol? Or
Yeah.
should I just like go into
Mhm.
Holy Symbol right away?
Well, the thing is that for most bossers, it's like pretty important to get to level 40 to get that IED. But then again,
Okay.
for you, that's not like a huge priority. So the main priority is just being able to kill monsters around your level properly.
Okay.
I don't know what level I have for the boost nodes here. Yeah, what I have said here is that if you have your boost nodes like at level 20, by the time you're like at level 240, you're doing fine.
Okay.
But because you have saved up boost nodes, right, and you know what you're doing, and you have the events and everything, you'll probably get there a little bit faster than that. But yeah, once you start like approaching total level 40, you're probably good. You're probably able to kill monsters near your level, and then you can put a little bit more in Holy Symbol. And I think, isn't there like one skill that's also pretty important for you to level?
So yeah, decent advanced combat orders increases the duration of the lightning field when you're mobbing. But it has to be a certain level for it to do that. So I know that one's important too.
Has to be a certain level? Oh, you mean the skill itself has to be a certain level, or decent combat orders has to be a certain level?
I have it written down somewhere. I haven't gotten that far yet, so I don't know off the top of my head, but I know that one's like debatably as important as Holy Symbol for Zero.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you need the attack speed to hit the cap on one of your characters or something?
I need it until the attack speed changes go through.
Wait,
Beta,
yeah?
I think beta can only get to 2 right now. And then with the changes to the mastery that I think are coming right after Neo, you can take out decent speed infusion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it wasn't. God, I know Paladin, Hero, Marksman, I think Angelic Buster. I didn't know Zero was on our list as well.
Yep.
Good
Yeah, I'm very excited for that.
Okay, yeah, that's nice. Okay.
If only Alpha could get stance, I'd be super happy.
And the other one could get. I mean, was it also Alpha that needs critical rate?
It's beta that needs crit. I can
yeah.
deal with the crit, but it's kind of annoying to have to use the heal link.
Yeah. Well, at least that one's going up in duration as well soon, so that should make it a little.
Yeah,
bit
I'm
less
not touching
annoying.
that. It's at level 2. I'm just waiting.
Yeah, give me that change. Yesterday, please. Okay. All right. So I'm thinking, is there anything with the V Matrix that I can get into for you? I mean, these come. I guess Zero is getting their own skill, right? Their own will skill, so you won't need to use this one.
Okay. Yeah, I
mean, you still
want
to get it. Yeah, you still want to save it because for Black Mage and stuff, you want to have as much cleansing as possible. So eventually,
yeah, that's what
yeah.
And that's my long-term goal. Long-term goal is to liberate eventually in years. But
yeah. Well, you can dual liberate now. So if a Zero and a Paladin can dual liberate, that'd be glorious. Well, they're giving a Paladin a bunch of changes as well to make things a bit easier to navigate their kit.
Yeah, both classes are getting some really good changes. I mean, Zero went from competing for last to upper middle of the pack in KMS in terms of damage, so which I know isn't everything. Those DPM charts are take them with a grain of salt, but
wait. Yeah, it's for KMS, and it's on a target dummy, so
yeah.
How much does it
but
really
at least
say?
we can do some damage.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to like the damage to static, it's important to know for hard lucid and stuff, of course, because that's where most of the supporty classes were really falling behind. Is if you're gonna make them, you can't make a character get their damage and get their contribution to a party come from supporting other people, and then having to make them do things solo, because then they won't be able to. So, but it's weird that they just changed the entire setup instead of just giving those classes like slightly different challenges, I think. And now it's like, oh, now everyone can do it. So now it's even easier for the people who are already doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, well, since you mentioned that, realistically, because I mean that dual blade is the furthest I've ever been in the game, so I'm still learning a lot about this game. How far should we expect to push as a duo, and at what point do we just need to like cut our losses, join a guild, and get into bossing parties?
So technically, Man, like it'll be a slow process, you know, after a certain point for getting your gear and everything. But with the access to the droplets and everything, like theoretically, what I would say is like, because of the DPS output, like theoretically it would be Black Mage, but like practically everything starting with normal Lucid and up is probably just going to take too long before you get to the next one. That'll be a little bit demoralizing.
That's what I thought, because I know there's a huge jump before normal Lucid, so...
Yeah, the damage output. Like, the boss fights... But again, maybe for most people it's because the boss fights tend to last too long and people's survivability comes into question and people start dying out and stuff when, like, Phase 1 Lucid lasts too long. If you guys really learn your mechanics and everything, you could get through that with your... you know, Paladin can tank a whole bunch of shit, you can tank a whole bunch of shit, and there is a changes coming to the damage for the golems as well that makes them not as much of a problem anymore later. So
oh, I missed that.
Yeah, the stuck damage for easy and normal Lucid golems is gonna be the same damage dealing as for hard, so that it just does regular lines. So
okay.
So I wouldn't.
Really nice.
Yeah, which really makes it less of a huge milestone or like a speed bump to get over when to really get to clearing Lucid. So, yeah, depending on how far you guys go and how determined you are, I could see you guys doing that. Now, but getting from being able to do normal will from normal Lucid, I think that would probably be doable. You know, given the time and the levels and all that and the expertise. Going from there to normal will, though, like, if you want to duo as those two classes, normal will, you're gonna have to be really close to 250. So by that time, I don't know if you still have the patience to be like, oh yeah, I can wait like 3 months until we can do the next boss, when the juicy hard bosses are also like dangling over your head and like the chances for arcanes and all that stuff. So yeah, that'll be up to you guys to which extent you're like, oh no, we want to do it as a duo, or we, you know, it's been fun, but let me get at least the chance for a drop. Yeah,
we were content to be patient, and then they announced that they're going to be selling droplets in stores for Mesos and Reboot. They were like, ooh, arcane, that sounds kind of nice.
Yep.
So
yeah, we'll get into
we
that.
Thinking...
Yeah, that definitely determines how far you push your Abzo and stuff. If you want to do like the solo way, then you'll probably still not push the Abzo too far, because you'll try to get to the normal clears ASAP and then just farm out the normal clears for the gear and then use that to do the hard clears. But if you don't want to do that, then you'll probably just... or you push the Abzo harder and go immediately for the hard clears, or you just, you know, join up a party, keep the Abzo at 17, wait until you get enough droplets, smash them together, then go into the arcane gear, and then choose if you want to like stay with the party or go back to trying to duo or something like that.
That could also you read
be
my
something
mind with
do.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's easier to get two people together, especially if you're good friends, rather than always finding 6. And
yeah, that's we were thinking maybe join a guild around or after normal Lucid. But... Cool.
Yeah, the guild skills are huge steroids, or crazy amount of damage increase. So that will definitely make things more doable. Like, for example, my Cannoneer has got mostly unique equips with like 1 line of stat, and most of the equips were like either were like at 12 or at 17 stars, like 50-50 split between that, and had like a fake old Abzo Cannoneer weapon with like not too crazy of stats. And with guild skills at level 220, I was able to solo both Lotus and Damien.
That's crazy.
So like, that was like with 30 seconds or less left on the Damien run. So like really, really close. But without guild skills, I wouldn't even come remotely close to that, because it's just such a huge damage increase. The critical damage and the boss damage is so much.
Yeah, that's insane.
Until normal, hard, lucid, and will. Yeah, something like that. Oh, I was a duo with my bro. We did everything together until hard, lucid, and will. Or, well, you said N each lucid. Do you mean normal or hard? No, lucid. Not so hard lucid. Yeah, because I think it can depend on the classes, right? If you have like a dedicated support, dedicated like hard burster, you could do it. I think if you have 2 more dedicated supports like you guys are, or like one semi-dedicated and you more dedicated support, you can do it, but it'll be like a war of attrition, and you'll have to have those really long-fought battles. But if that's what you're like looking for, I think you both can have the survivability to do it. Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
both,
we're definitely not lacking in that department. So.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, you're still getting used to the kit and everything as well, because you've only just started playing the character, so you'll only get better with it. And I think they'll have that toggle for your step thing, because I have a Zero in my party who tends to die sometimes in phase 2 will, because you're just like trying to make minor adjustments moving forward, and then you tap forward and then get hit by stuff and ruin the test. It's really annoying.
Yeah, I failed out of our first C-Bell run because of that. So.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna die a bunch of times on the Buccaneer because he has that little zoomy thing as well when you tap the button. I think I'm gonna zoom into some rocks and into some tails as well. It's gonna be fun times.
Yeah.
All right, but we were on the Matrix apparently. Does that explain everything in the Matrix? Yeah, you don't need any binds. Your friend doesn't need any binds. You both have binds. That's all good.
Yeah, I think I feel pretty good about Matrix. So.
All right.
Gonna have a bunch of nodes here at the end of the event. Excited for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the IED is also coming from the familiars in the picture?
No, actually, I did not have the familiars on. I forgot to turn them on. So.
That's also without them on. I think if you
put on
all of those things you have, and I think if you calculate your functional, you might be over 99%.
Yeah,
functional,
I think so.
It's kind of disgusting how... Yeah, okay. Well, it does mean that if you get into the realm of really going hard on familiars, that you know you can... Like, you don't even need the healing ones, because you guys both have so much survivability, so you can just full send on the damage ones, on the boss damage ones, and be fine.
Yep. Yeah.
It's also good to know. I mean, makes it more rare to find what you need, but at least you know exactly what you're looking for, I guess.
Yeah, I'm super excited they added familiars to more S, so we can start a little bit earlier. But
right, and I think some Asphera maps are pretty good for Zero as well, right?
That's what I heard. Yep.
Yeah.
So
you'll be adequately rewarded for that. That's always good to know. Some small amount healing, meso drop rate. Do you know how that works, everything with the drop rate and meso drop rate and the item drop rate and all that?
No, I do not. I'm very new to familiars, so I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, so I have exclamation mark drop rate. I'll open that right now, but if you can find it back if you're looking for it. Because it is quite confusing, and people were constantly asking, like, what percentage is this? How much does that really mean? Like, and it's like, yeah, that is really... weird how that works. So let's go into details about like what affects what. Like meso drop rate affects how many bags drop when it's on a familiar. Regular item drop rate on a familiar does not affect how many bags drop, but does affect everything else. And regular item drop rate on anything but a familiar affects everyone, including meso bags again. So that's already a nice thing. There's some other exceptions. Wealth acquisition potion is apparently multiplicative instead of additive, which is different because it says meso drop rate and it means meso obtained multiplicatively, so that's also kind of weird. Yeah, so those are like the exceptions. So the base meso drop rate is 60%. So if you have 67% or 66.6, but you need 67. As drop rate, so either between meso drop rate in your familiars and regular drop rate outside of familiars. If you have that number, then every monster always drops a bag, and then you don't need to stack any more of that. So if you have like 70% in your equips, then you don't need meso drop rate from your familiar anymore. That won't do anything past that point.
Oh, okay.
So then you can just stack as much drop rate there and as much defense as you want, right? The familiar defense, so that the summoning gauge depletes more slowly.
Got it. Okay.
And then unlocking a third slot eventually will help with that as well, to get another third familiar out there. And then hopefully you can start making epic and unique ones, which have way more defense, and then that'll make it so that you can probably have the summon gauge out for almost 3 hours before it depletes. So that should be pretty good. And then here you can see what the numbers are specifically when it comes to the lines and where you get them and what they're called. So it's like the name and the rank determines what percentage it actually is. But there is some overlap. You see, increased item drop rate on Epic can be a 50% and can also be a 60%. So it's not like a hard science or anything, but that's pretty close compared to.
Yeah.
As long as you know if it's 100% or 30%, like that's it's important stuff to know. So which one is slightly better than which one. And then you have item acquisition and unique that gives another 10% that does stack with itself and with other sources. And like the general rule of thumb for all of the things familiar is that if you see the buff show up in the top right as a buff, then it does not stack with things that do similar things. If you don't see the buff show up there, then it does stack. So for example, item acquisition does not show up as a buff, and that apparently from testing can stack with the same line and also with the item drop rate ones. But once you have item drop rate ones, it shows up on the top right, and it's only the largest number that works at that point. So it doesn't stack with each other. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
That's how it seems to work. And in the same way, it also works with the stacking of healing familiars, for example. Like healing familiars don't show up as a buff, so healing familiars do stack with each other. So you can have like 3 familiars out that each have 2 lines of healing, like all of it will be healing. But typically what happens is that the healing synchronizes, so you'll go a whole time without healing, and then suddenly like you get like full HP out of nowhere kind of thing.
Yeah.
So hopefully that explains RF Dilzerv, nice name, in the chat, your question as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then it goes on like saying how it stacks with coupons and what kind of percentages you can go to. Yeah, technically, you can have ×5 on the where's your item acquisition. You can technically have that 5 times. So the highest percentage possible would be like 504% item drop rate, which is of course a little bit.
That's a lot of drop.
Yeah. More realistic is something like this, that when you're bossing and you go in full equips, you're at like 344, and then training at 244 when you're have like the regular set of equips, but all of the buffs and all the coupons and like the big ones, big familiars out there. So these are like more realistic numbers for like even endgame. This would be like the biggest whale in non-reboot or something would like be looking for this number, for example. But,
okay.
But this is including like Beast Tamer, Sticky Paws buff, you know? This is like Demon Slayer or Night Lord debuff, so only like, it would be only for 2 classes. So it's like the ultimate max, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on the, if you're looking for more specific ID questions, because I see in the chat, or familiar questions, I see them in chat as well, you can check !familiars. And the familiars talks about all things familiars in general when it comes to like ranking things up and how many points you need and the colors and the chances of ranking up, and you know how depressed you should be when you fail a bunch of times. And it also talks in the end about, and I will be updating this last one here with the badges. I have to update this one because I don't have the Morass and the Asphera ones yet, of course. But you'll be able to see also like the badges, they're easy to get. The stacking that I just showed you, that's also linked here. And then the possible familiar lines, because I saw people asking about like which lines exist in which tier. And that's all in a paste bin here, so you can use that to... no weights there, but because we don't know exactly what they are. And also just some advice in general for what to do with familiars. So should be able to, once you read up on all that, everything should be crystal clear. Right, that is a lot of ID though, yeah, but yeah. Well, so maybe in the current situation, right, you could definitely move the Legion pieces around, because when you're bossing, you'll probably move into the IED. And then you'll definitely have enough if that picture was even without them, so... yeah, and then, you know, if you replace both of them with bossing damage, then you could technically reevaluate the ID numbers and see, do I need to move some Legion back now, or do I have more Legion by that time? But I imagine you can stay on the bossing if you're partying with a Paladin.
Yep.
So much extra ID. Good. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Is there anything non-directly equip related? Well, I guess the event store, but we'll kind of segue into that, right? It's kind of that's kind of the main question anyway. It's either equips or upgrading equips, so
exactly
it'll come back down to the same thing. Yeah, maybe symbols, I guess, because I mean, at this point, symbols comparatively are a lot of value, but I wouldn't use any. I wouldn't buy or use any symbols at least until you get the Lackline to get like an early start on the tower. Other than that, or like to make sure that the slow start on the tower doesn't hurt you as much. But other than that, I would never buy for Vanishing Journey or Choo Choo. If you know what you're doing, you can be very fast with that regardless. So,
yeah, that was basically my question: is we can either get a ring or 2. I don't remember what the calculation is, or we can get a bunch of black symbols. And I know Dream Defender is going to start off slow, so.
Yeah, for sure, it does that. Oh, that's a nice hat. Did you want that one?
Yeah, I would take that, yeah. Yep.
Chaos Vellum hat with a 3-second and the strength. Not too bad. It's only a small range.
I was hoping to get lucky, but not quite.
Not quite that. Yeah, don't count on that one. The disappointment will be on the way for you.
Yeah, I mean, I got super lucky with Dom Pennant and Black Bean Mark in my first week of the character existing, so.
Oh yeah, those can definitely. Yeah, those can definitely hold you back. Yeah, Dom Pennant. It's always a nice drop to get into. Oh yeah, I was looking. Yeah, do you have any idea on how many stones you're gonna have left? Like barely enough for 2, or?
Yeah, I have it pulled up here somewhere.
For the rings.
Yeah, so I will have like 7,100 left over, so just enough for 2 rings. He'll have a little bit more. I'm missing a few days because I have a wedding, and unfortunately one of them was a Sunday.
Oh yeah, that's triple now.
Yeah, but I'll still have enough to buy out the nodes and just barely buy 2 rings.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, well, when I look at your current rings, I would go for those. Yeah, it's a huge start, and it basically carries you over until everything is 17, and you're trying to push past 17. Until then, those rings will be basically the best thing you can get. So,
does it change anything? Because I'm waiting on the Kana job, but that's the one that I didn't get lucky with. And then I almost have enough materials to craft the Meister ring. We both do. So we'll get those pretty quickly. The one that we won't be getting super quick is the Superior Golix ring.
Yeah, Superior and Reinforced, and yeah. So if you get to the 4 rings, there's like 2 event rings and a Kana treasure and a Meister at 17. Like that will be fine until everything is at 17, or you want to go beyond. And then when you do, and you have enough Golix coins and want to go into Superior, like the only point that you do that is if you can have all 4 equips and you switch them all at once, because by themselves they're not that great of items. Like their base stats aren't that good, and you will have to, even at 17 they will barely overtake the event ring, so you might as well just sit on your money a little bit longer, invest it into other stuff until you have the full amount to switch over with, and then when you do, you make the full switch, then the event rings just become drop or meso rings at that point.
Okay.
Which they already might be. Like they might be kind of hybrid rings, right? Like let's say you roll 20 meso and 18 strength, it might be your best damaging ring and might also be your meso ring at that point. It's really because we don't have trade. It's really the potential that comes out at the items that kind of determines what its function will be. And in the beginning, it might be both, you know, because you don't want to spread yourself too thin and go for like a specific set for both already very early on, because that might actually slow down your progress rather than speed you up.
Okay.
So for all of those pieces that will get switched out with the Superior Golix stuff, you can push pretty far on that, probably at least to 17 into Legendary, to be part of like the hybrid damage and drop set, because they're only going to get switched once you have full Superior, and even if you get the 2 drops, then you still need 1,400 coins, which might be a while.
Okay, so should we go ahead and pick up one of the rings, because our DMT is, well, tonight, and add that to the list, or are there better things to prioritize for DMT?
So it would be probably the weapon secondary and emblem would be like the high priority, and then right after that I would say come accessories. So that's right where you're at. So I would pick the ring up, and try to get it to legendary.
Because we're kind of like rushing a little bit to Arcana, because my dual blade does not get a lot of money in Arcana, especially now that my vac pet is gone.
Oh yeah, rip.
So I didn't know if we should focus on the meso gear first and kind of take it a little bit slower on some of the damage gear, or vice versa.
Yeah, you want to... I think, like, if you know what you're doing and you're progressing through the game, I think you can definitely do, like, a hybrid approach where you do both. And it just depends on what the item ends up getting. Like, if you're rolling on the ring and it does end up rolling, like 21 is, like, a little bit of an edge case, right? If it rolls 21 stat, for now, that might be the best, but depending on what the rest rolls, you might want to roll over that. But if it rolls 24 or 27, then it's pretty clearly like, okay, that's a damage item now. You know, like some situation as your shoulder, then it's like, okay. well, then you might want to, then you just have to either look for another ring or just be okay with the fact that you'll only have 8 items that give you drop and mezzo together. But even then, you can just do 5 with mezzo, 3 with drop, and then with the holy symbol and other stuff combined, you'll still hit that 67%, so you'll still be fine.
Okay. Yeah, you mentioned the shoulder. That I accidentally tiered it to legendary with extra black cubes, and I rolled that stat on it, and I was like, okay, I guess that's what that shoulder is for now.
Yeah, I mean, next is Abzo, so might as well get some stat out of it. I mean, it's the same as the earring that you have now. A lot of people are like, what do I do with like Will-o'-the-Wisps or what the other one, the Deocidus earrings? I was like, I get him the legendary and get him drop or mezzo with a line of strength, because superior is the next earring. Like, that's a while from now, so you might as well get some mileage out of them while you have them. And then even after you get superior, what are you going to do? You're going to get another superior for drop rate? No, you're just going to go back to this one. So it's always going to keep value for your account. So as long as you know that eventually that value is going to come back, and it's not just, if it's long-term value that you're creating, then you can go into it. The sooner you go into it, the sooner it will pay itself back.
Okay.
So when it comes to when it comes to those pieces, so that would be the earring would be at least one pendant slot, right, where the pendant will come in. For the belt, definitely, because if you go if you push further on a belt, like the worst case scenario is you transfer over, and it's like, and then most of the value gets kept. So you don't go too hard in potential. You can go epic, maybe unique, depending on where you're at. But you generally just push further in Star Force instead, because that is going to transfer over to the belt.
Yeah.
So that's fine. And when it comes to the rings, you just push event rings usually. I don't think any other ring comparatively will do all that much for you. You're not getting any gloom rings anytime soon. You can even eventually, like if you go for the kind of treasure ring and you end up rolling like some crazy drop and mezzo combinations or whatever, you can even just keep that one and then do another kind of ring, because they can drop multiple ones now. So you could just have one for damage and one for drop as well if that's the case, and then you just stick to lower Star Force on the one that ends up getting drop or mezzo.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
I guess for Iron Face, I tend to go for just for the Zakum pieces in the beginning, and then once I do the whole switch with the Spirit Gollux, then I also do the switch into the Sweetwater stuff, because by then I've had some time to build up some dineros. If you do have enough Black Beam marks, you could just do that one straight up instead and just kind of skip the whole needing a monocle thing. So that's the downside is, of course, you need very specific backups for that, which might be a little bit harder to do. But I mean, that's not until you're pushing past 17 do you really care about that, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, and the face can stay what it is, or
So should I, since I only have the one Black Bean mark, should I swap back to the Zakum Eye or work on that one?
And use this one for damage? Yeah, it's a bit tricky. Do you know what your funds are going to be to play around with during the DMT?
We're both pretty broke right now, so I think we're gonna have like 4 or 5 bill to tier up. I don't think we want to spend more than that.
So
And
that's
then
like 10 items on a great day and 6 or 7 on an average day kind of thing.
Yeah, our income is just pretty slow until we're in Arcana.
Yeah, Maple Tour and Ursus helps, but it only gets you so far.
Yeah, I think we have like 1.4 bill a week income, which, we saved up a bunch, but once it's gone for now.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and the dual blade makes some extra, but it's not too insane. Okay. So we don't want to make too much of a mismatch, right? We don't want to have like 12 items be legendary and then the other items have no potential whatsoever. That's a little bit too much of a disparity. Because your CRA is a permanent version now?
It is, and the top and bottom
just doesn't have potential. Yeah.
The top and bottom are now potentialed. The hat, I don't want to put too much money into the hat. I might, slap an E-Pod on it, but
yeah, I get that part.
The flames are garbage, by the way. I know I have to reflame them.
If only the top was just strength, then it'd be fine.
I know.
But I'm sure you had that thought, yeah. Well, Yeah, so for the CRA, yeah, for the hat, like keep it epic and it just gets 6% or something until you get that drop. For the top and the bottom, I would probably just roll them up to unique and leave them there, and then just re-roll them with Master Crossmans you get.
Okay.
The stuff that's going to transfer into Abzo, so that's basically going to be your level 140 gear, right?
Yep.
Your level 140 gear doesn't have like crazy flames right now. I mean, I'm looking specifically at the glove and the shoe, I guess.
No, not at all.
Yeah, well, which is not like to insult you or anything, but if it had great flames, then I would keep it as this gear. But since it doesn't, you might as well already transfer it over into the next gear, into the level 150 stuff.
Okay.
And just have it sit there. And the great thing about the 150 stuff is you can just buy it from shops whenever you need it as backups, and you don't need to hold backups in your inventory. So that's great.
Okay.
You know where they get those shoes and gloves?
The Tyrant stuff?
Yeah, kind of, but not really, right? They're like, yeah, they're like in the same shop, but they're not Tyrant, like not superior type stuff.
Oh, the Nova ones.
Um,
Or maybe not. We got the Tyrant stuff on our other characters, so that's what I thought you meant.
Oh yeah, no. So there's stuff you can buy. So in Rudibus, there's the Ancient Root shoes that you can buy. They're level 150.
Oh.
And you buy them with the Rudibus coins. Again, you don't really buy anything else with Rudibus coins, so that's nice and dandy. And in the black market before the in front of the castle. Oh, I don't have a rock here. In front of the maybe I can teleport. No, I can't teleport there either. But like, so it's in Rudibus. There's the NPC on the top right. He sells the shoes. And then in Grandis, no, not there. Here, this map, the downtown black market. There's an NPC there that sells the gloves for the
Okay.
Yeah, they sell them for both of the coins, both for the bad coins and for the good coins. The ones for the bad coins are pretty expensive, like you need quite a lot. But if you have a few of the good coins and you don't use those coins for anything else, really, you can easily buy a bunch. So that helps you not having to flood your inventory with them. But you can already have the level 150 stuff there sitting. And then it might be an okay idea, I guess, but depending on how much money you have, that by the time you get to the 1+1 event, because the way that I'm seeing it is probably the next Star Force event is probably going to be a 5, 10, 15, over 30%, and then you want to be ready to get things to 17, right?
Right.
So if you have enough money, you might be able to use the 1+1 event to get up to 15. It's not as much off as 30% off, but it's still better than no event whatsoever. And then for the stuff that goes into Abzo, you could already prep it depending on how close you get to that point, you know, for Lotus and Damien, and you already have some clears and you have some weeklies done and everything. And then you can prep those to 15 together with, I usually do the Enraged Succum Cape, and then maybe some shoulders from Ranmaru. So that way you can do it without having to safeguard and save a lot of money before transferring over.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, and then the longer term is to do that with the superior stuff as well, but you have to wait until they get all the pieces, and you know the coins are pretty difficult to come by. But then for the superior gear, you basically do hopefully an extra Dominator pendant by then for the Gollix pendant, and then the belt would go into the belt, the golden clover into the belt, and then when it comes to the rings, sometimes people just use like 17-star rings or the scrolls if they have them, or the 15 stars, and then do the 5 and 15, something like that. Because transferring for like a Meister or kind of treasure only up to 17, those rings have like more value by themselves because you want those as well if you go past 17. So it's not as straightforward for the ring. Sometimes people just safeguard on the ring itself, the 17, and that's sometimes better value than wasting quote unquote like a primal on a Meister, or the depending on if you have like 15 kind of treasure rings by that point, then by all means do that. But if you only have like 1 or 2 backups, like you want to save those to go for high kind of treasure as well. So for the ring, it's a little bit more situational dependent. And for the E-ring, usually by that point you'll have saved up like 6 or 7 reinforced, because those are way more common than the superior. And then you can just use those and go hard on Star Forcing those without having to safeguard. So that in all will help you get to the 17 set of full Abzo and full superior. like way cheaper, probably like around half the money or like 60% of the money spent only.
Okay. And before the superior set, I had someone recommend the because we're duo progressing and it's a little bit slower, the alien fragment set, which like looks kind of cool at first, but then you realize you're missing out on boss flames.
Yeah.
So I've just been running it when I have extra time to get the equips in case you said it was a good idea, but I only have 2 of them right now anyways, so.
Yeah, you have more than enough IED, so like the 50 flat attack from the set bonus is quite nice. Usually when people have the alien fragment set and they're already invested in it, I take that into account and then I work around that because I don't want you to like lose out on that investment. The problem with these is, first of all, yeah, no boss flames. Everything basically comes from the set bonus, which is really nice, but it's only flat attack as well, which some people need more. Or different stats. They might need the ID, they might need the boss damage, that kind of thing. But they're also level 180, which means every reroll on potential is very expensive to reveal.
Right.
Star forcing is way more expensive, plus until you get to 17 you barely get anything from it, so that's not useful. And there's no way of transfer hammering forward because it's our level 180 gear, so all of the value gets stuck in that forever as well. So if someone was in a situation where they're already invested, I would plan around that and I would, use that investment. But I think for you, it's like a side track that won't really help you move forward to where you want to go.
Okay.
So I wouldn't invest in it personally.
Okay. Yeah, I just 12 starred it because I had some extra money. I wanted to see what the difference was, just equip wise.
Yeah, the base stats are okay, and like the flame stats are the Starforce stats are okay as well. But then not having flames and not having like the set bonus can be okay, but you have to sacrifice so much for it, and the rerolling is so expensive. It's like, yeah, I just stick to the
sit on 9 boss until superior.
Basically, yeah. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I think I have 10 right now.
2, 4. Oh yeah, because of the badge. Yeah, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, I have 10 now. So that means that if you do get rid of the ring, then you still have 9, which is fantastic, right, for bossing.
Oh, that's perfect because that could be like KT, Meister, and 2 event rings. Yeah.
Yeah, because the Silver Blossom base stats are I know it goes up to 10, so that's one. And if it's already legendary, cool, it's part of your drop in Mezzo. If it's not at all, maybe you don't even need to get it to legendary, Maybe there's enough opportunity for other rings. You end up with like a superior, a reinforced, a kind of treasure for damage, a kind of treasure for drop, a Meister, 2 event rings. That already puts you at 7, so if one of them has a double function, then you're already good, and you have your 8 rings,
Okay.
It's possible. If not, then, Silver Blossom can come in and save the day once more, but...
Yeah.
Until then, yeah. If it doesn't have to, then you don't do it. But if it does come to that, some people go for the, what is it, like John's Treasure Hunter ring or something? I don't know exactly the name.
Oh, yeah.
Like an NLC.
Years since I got one of those.
Apparently it's pretty easy to get, and it does go, I think it stars up to 15 as well, so it's not that bad of a ring to fall back on. I think it's mainly an okay ring if you really don't have access to event rings at that time, because there are sometimes there are dry spells, right, of event rings. Now we had like a monsoon for the last 4 months, but if there is a huge dry spell and you're just starting out, then getting the Treasure Hunter John's ring, if that's what it's called, then that's a fine ring to use, because this one, the Silent Crusade ring, is just to fill a slot and get some Star Force, but it doesn't bring anything to the table, of course.
Yeah, I only Star Forced it because I was like level 200, couldn't kill mobs, and I needed all the help I could get before I got my drops.
Yeah, it's pretty low level, so it's not super expensive either.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess my only other question on like equips or obtaining equips is what else do I need goes in between Abso and Superior, or is, other than rings, is this pretty much where you sit? And I have Antelian Guardian now, and I'm working on 7-Day Monster Parker. So.
Well, so some things are going to be gated behind like needing to get them. Like you'll want, so you go from this situation, like accessory wise, right? Like we know where the rings are going. An earring, we know where that's going. Ein face, is that clear?
Yes. Yeah.
And then pendant wise, you'll basically just keep at this, and then hopefully one Dominator gets good enough, and it's like at the same point when everything's like 17, you're like switching into full. Hopefully, switching into full superior, you have your drops and everything. Then the monocle, maybe not the monocle, but then this guy picks up for the other one, right? Maybe the tattoo comes in, and you have like that full set coming in. Then you'll also think about like, okay, flaming pendant, transposing, Sweetwater pendant also coming in, and then then you'll have the superior pendant as a second ring. So then you'll have to get another dominator to be like a drop ring again to fill out with this. So if you do flame rings or flame pendants, or you do have multiple pendants, just flame whichever one is the lowest. And then you'll once you have like a dedicated one that says drop, if it happens to have like a 20 strength flame or like an 80 strength flame on it, if it's your drop rate gear, that won't really like affect your damage output on bosses. You want to make sure that you get a really good flame so you can transpose, and then whatever's stuck on the other one will become the drop dominator later. But then you need more dominators after that if you want to go like, okay, now, and we're talking like a while further, now you want to get like 21 star to transfer into 20, or even 22 to transfer into 21 for superior pendants. Now you need a whole bunch of dominator backups again, right? So you don't have to do that with superiors, because that's a little bit crazy.
Okay. So
that does mean that those superior items, once you do get them, typically you only go into like 2-line legendary at the most, because in the future you don't want to have to like, if you roll 33 or something, you don't have to like redo that potential, or be stuck having to get thousands and thousands of Gollux coins to be in the work on that thing itself and risk all the booming, right? Yeah. That's something you could do on like a kind of treasure ring or something. As you get more drop rate, you might get more backups and you might be fine. Could do on the Meister ring if you wanted to, but then basically once you get to that point, you just pick the path of least resistance, and you just pick whatever you have the most backups of. So it's probably going to be like CRA first, then maybe some accessories at that point. Maybe you get lucky with drops for the earrings or the belt, and if you happen to land on like a 3-line and you have backups, then you can always try.
Okay.
But you keep the Abzo like at 17 throughout all of that. I probably wouldn't even go for I wouldn't go for 2 lines of crit damage on the glove either. I just do 1 line of crit damage, 1 line of stat. That'll be fine. Or even a line of crit and a line of well, I guess you won't need speed infusion, so a line of sharp eyes, I guess, so you can get another slot in the matrix. That would be enough value as well. And then just hold on to your money until arcane, because you're probably gonna buy a bunch of the droplets, so you need the money for that, and then all the money for upgrading. So
yep, yeah, we're gonna hardcore save for this winter shop that has droplets just throwing them at us at this point.
Yeah, like I said before, it will depend on how strictly you guys want to keep duoing everything, and how the runs go. If it's really, really long runs, but you guys actually make it, then it's fine. If you do it and you feel like you're on top of the thing and you're just nowhere close and you need more funding, either you look for like 1 or 2 more party members and like duo it or something, or you over invest, and that'll probably mean higher star forcing on the accessories, and well, definitely on the CRA it needs to be like 20 or 21 at that point. But try to touch the Abzo very last. I think 1 star is probably pretty doable, but it goes into the realm of possibly booming, so it depends on how risk averse you are at that point.
Okay. Yeah, I think the big test for us will be once we get to phase 3 of normal lucid, just seeing like if we have the damage to keep going, or
well, normal only has 2 phases. It's only hard that has 3 phases.
Oh yeah, you're okay. Yeah, I haven't gotten all the way up to lucid yet, so I always forget.
Yeah, no, well, that's the big surprise once you go do hard, is like, wait, there's another one. Yeah.
Yeah, I always tunnel vision on that phase 3. So.
Yeah, the burst is Paladin has like a few really cool things to throw out there, but then when those things are down, you're like,
yeah,
like scraping by.
I saw Paladin burst seems pretty decent now, or that's at least what some of the Paladin mains he was talking to are talking about. But Zeros is, I mean, it's not the worst in the game, but
not well. I'm trying to think. No, it's probably not the worst. Probably probably Demon Avengers is worse. No, it's definitely not the best either. No. But they do bring a lot to the table, so that's that's where that comes in.
Yeah. Okay, so other question on equips is, what order do I do things in terms of like Star Force, Flames, potentials? Because I have so much that needs to be done to so many equips that we just like don't know where to start. I guess. Other than, DMT tonight is a pretty good place to start.
Yeah, so the general big steps are clear, right? Like where from every set, which set you go and when you go there.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
basically what dictates how quickly you get there and where you spend your money to a large extent is just like how much money do you have at the point and like which event comes along. If a DMT comes along, you push the tiering up of items a little bit forward, and then in this case it will be focusing on your accessories, so you can start making drop in meso gear, so that when you're training you can make way more money, so that the next time a big event comes around you'll be able to spend more. So hopefully that'll be we know now that's a 1+1 event, and we don't know about 30% or 5, 10, 15s, so you can use that time to prep the gear that will go into the Abzo, right, that we talked about, those pieces. So the enraged cape, the glove, the shoe, and then the Remoru shoulders. So of that, the only thing you really need to save up is just the enraged Succum capes and the Remoru shoulders. The other two you can buy in the moment if they do happen to blow up, and then whatever. You can just buy a replacement, transfer trace over, and you're good. So yeah, when it comes to DMT, I would get the CRA stuff. Well, at least the top and the pants to unique as well. I think unique is fine. These are like the items I like to get to unique, to legendary, the very last out of everything, because they just have too many junk lines and there's too many gains to be made everywhere else. They do fine on unique. You can roll 9%, 12%, or maybe 15 if you're lucky, and then just leave them there. That'll be fine.
Okay.
And then, basically we just wait until the next batch of Sunny Sundays to come out. It's very unlikely that there's going to be any kind of cube sale, any kind of gains when it comes to potential. So that means that the things you made legendary, the accessories, you just red cube those off event, and you just go for that. The faster you go for it, the faster you make the money back. So that's going to be our priority. But whether you do that like before the 1+1 event or after, that just depends on how much money you have at that point.
Okay. And then what about flames?
Flames is dude. Yeah, that's kind of sucks. So you flame if there's currency that you have left over an event and there's flames you can buy, then you work on flames. I wouldn't buy any flames until, honestly, I mean, like you flame your weapon, right? Which I think you're already done, but you don't have flame advantage, so that's not So that's not anything crazy. 47.
It's got good attack, but that's it.
Yeah, well, you can't really aim for that much more on a zero weapon. It's not really
unfortunately.
Again, you're a little bit different in that. For your friend, the weapon flame would be very important, right? That's why when you look at and this is basically what it all comes down to, right? Is like, where do you work on and when do you work on it? It just basically just always comes back down to this, right? This is where all the numbers are. This is where it's all like gathered into one big thingy. So like, if you want to hit these milestones, if you want to be able to do the things around your level, the content, then you want to hit these milestones in all of these categories. That's kind of what you're aiming for. So with events, you'll go a little bit overboard on one, and then you'll course correct by going a little bit overboard on the other ones to, when that event hits, or if no event hits before the other one, then you kind of like swing the pendulum back in the other direction. But if you roughly try to approach these numbers, you'll make it so that you're never spending your time somewhere and wasting it.
Okay.
It'll always be like towards the more efficient way of moving forward.
Okay.
So yeah, when it comes to flame scores, I put the numbers pretty low. But of course, there's a huge gap between being like 210 and 240. So there's like plenty of time to fix that. And I think once all of your stuff is like 17, remember that's when the Dominator Pendant comes in, and that's when you start flaming on the Dominator Pendant, right? And then until you feel like there's a huge need to really increase a lot of damage, because basically from 17, what's the next stop? Like for most people, it's just 21, and that's like such a huge endeavor. And you want to make sure you have enough backups and all that stuff. So that's usually the time where people are like, okay, maybe I'll just work on flames a little bit more and see if I really need to get to 19 or to 21. Maybe if I just upgrade all my gear a little bit, I can actually get strong enough to just ride it out a little bit more and just save up more money for the long term, and then go for the huge expenditure. And it'll depend from class to class. Some people are like full 17 good flames, and they could just train at all levels or all areas around their level, and you could just keep going, keep making a lot of money. And then when they want to do like the next hard boss, it's like, okay, now I need to invest a lot of money. And some classes might be like, okay, I can't even train properly. I need to throw a bunch of money at my stuff. But since your weapon secondary and emblem is already so solid, I feel pretty confident if you go hard on the accessories and get some potential on the CRA, and then switch into the Abzo, and then everything is like unique or legendary with some lines, gets to 17 stars, has like an okay flame, should have no trouble mobbing whatsoever. The bigger problem I think will be like being super on point with your mechanics for bossing, especially if you're like together with a paladin and seeing how well you can min-max your damage output, especially in the beginning, because your accessories are in the beginning going to be like hybrid between drop set and damage, so you're going to be lacking some damage there. So until you switch into the full superior set and really dedicate that set to damage and dedicate the Sweetwater accessories that come in to damage, you're not going to be like at full steam. But by that time the other stuff is going to pick up the slack when it comes to mobbing, and then once that comes in, the full bossing damage should come in, and by that time you have way more arcane power, and all of the stat coming from that will come in, and it'll definitely help you.
Okay. Cool.
I guess we didn't mention the fairy heart. I don't know how serious you are, but that's an option, of course. We don't know when Wondword's coming back. If it's coming back, it's always a big question mark with those big events. It does seem like they like the Wondword event, and it seems like they bring it back regularly, but that's what we thought about Dark Lords of Darkness as well, and then, that kind of just fizzled. So my money would be on buying one if you want to main the character. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have enough to buy that. I mean, we're gonna be completely out of money at the end of this event, but
Yeah, you have until the end of August, right? You have about 3 more full weeks, almost. Yeah. I think the 29th or something. The shops go down. Well, remember, don't try to buy things on the last day, okay? Because it's always a shit show. But I mean, I guess they do bring them back. But yeah, August 29th is the last day on the shop, so that is still quite a while to make that 2 bill back. Should be good, especially if you invested now in making more money, right? Hopefully that'll give you a little bit more value and a little bit more excitement about training as well, because you can see those numbers go brrr.
Okay.
You're good for totems and everything like that?
Yep.
I assume so, since the Legion build, you probably had to work on that foundation a bit.
Oh yeah.
It always goes faster with totems.
Yeah, when I was playing my dual blade with work and everything, I was getting usually like 13, 14 totems done a month. I'd like to max them out once I am doing Links and Legion less, but we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be waves of going super hard, and then like, oh my god, I need more totems, to months where like, oh, I now have 11 of them that are expiring. Oh,
yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Always feels bad.
Yeah, I mean, if you do find that though, and then the month after that you can be like, okay, I'm gonna do something for like 45 minutes. It's better to just use a totem there anyway, because it's not like you're gonna be scrapped, like. So better use it for 45 minutes than to not use it at all. So you just learn from that for next month, and then if at the end of the next month you're like, oh shit, now I'm out of totems and I have a week left and I wanted to use some, well then you just adjust a little bit. And there's extra now from the cane. Oh no, you didn't get the extra ones from the cane, right?
No, I did not. I thought about getting the 200. I got to 120, and 0 was available for creation, and I was just like, eh.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't get mine from Kane last week either. Oh, I forgot to open it. Oh well. Yeah, I usually have left class as well. So no.
It was okay. I know I'm not gonna enjoy bossing with it. I mean, the mobbing was super easy.
Yep.
But I didn't need the Dex Legion piece. The Link maxes out at 120, so just kind of left him there for now. I might burn him later when there's nothing better to do. But
yeah, when you can. I mean, Dex is your secondary stat, so it does something, I guess. But
yeah, I would definitely do it before my intelligence pieces. But
yeah, once you get to 8k and then you get those extra 5, and then more Dex will come into play for sure.
Yep. So I guess my only other big question is, what's the best way to spend the event resources? Because I'm gonna have like 25,000 stones on my dual blade. And I know there's only a few things that are transferable. As far as cores, I think we're going to be like right at 1,800. I don't think we're quite going to be able to unlock the shop, so I was thinking maybe buy out all the droplets, but I didn't know what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, hang on. Let me go back to the store. So for the stones on this guy, that's all spoken for, right?
Yes, yeah, we can have just enough for that stuff.
And then for the cores, you just buy out the droplets, or?
That's what I was thinking. Is that what you would do?
Yeah, because you do have your eyes on. You do kind of bank on getting the arcane gear sooner rather than later because of the underinvesting in the Abzo, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can get away with it, but it does mean that you do want to aim for that next step, and have everything kind of pointing in the direction to aiming towards that. And the only other stuff is flames anyway, which I'm not a huge fan of buying things from the shop that you can kind of get the same thing for money in the game anyway.
Okay.
I'd always like prioritize stuff that's like more limited to event shops. So there is an argument to be made for the mezzo droplets because there's so many of them coming in winter, and you probably aren't going to be switching over before winter anyway, right? Because you need kind of catch steam. So I would buy the droplets for the cores, but I probably wouldn't buy the mezzo ones.
Okay, that's where I was at as well. So.
Yeah, because you're already gonna buy out the fairy heart, and there'll be too much money just like blocked in droplets just in your inventory rather than working for you and generating you more income. Like it's not a good investment right now because it's not paying dividends. If the upcoming winter event only had like 100 or 200 droplets in it, then maybe I would suggest it. But it has 900 in total, 800 to buy, so that's already more than the full set. So I don't think there's any rush in that regard.
Okay. And then for the stones that I have on my dual blade, should I buy the 2 scrolls that are in there and then send over a bunch of cubes and flames? Or, I mean, would it be worthwhile to spend some of the resources on the dual blade and wind archer and try to get to Damien? Or, I mean, we don't plan on getting Abso gear on them anytime soon, so I feel like that's a waste.
Yeah, so you were thinking... Yeah, I'm thinking... The Karma Meisters could be nice once you tier everything up to re-roll some stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because that's up to like, what, 4,500? I don't know about the Karma Master Crossmen. They seem too expensive compared to the Meisters.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
And you could only buy up to 15, and you probably still get them from weeklies and stuff. And you can use that to re-roll your CRA. You don't need to buy them from the event currency. But,
okay.
That's 4.5. And you were thinking of the Star Force scrolls?
Yeah, do you think those scrolls are worth it? I know they're kind of expensive, but I mean, I've got a bunch of stones and...
Yeah, I would definitely buy the stone. I don't know about buying the Mezzo one. Not a huge fan of that as a 1.5 bill. It's like, no. The stone one, yeah, if you have a bunch of stones on the dual blade and you're not really gonna use it on there anyway, yeah, I would always use it on the highest level item that you can use it on, which would be a 160. So if you're saying like, okay, I'll just use that on the shoulder, for example, then that means you don't have to like get a bunch of Ramaru backup shoulders or anything like that, and you could just focus on. You could just buy the scroll instead, and then be done in an instant.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
This seems fine, and then you still have like 10,000 left, right?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with those, but is it worth buying some of the flames, or?
Yeah, I guess flames would be next then. Yeah. Yeah, ideally you want to throw that on some of the Abzo stuff, right? Because they can get really nice flame scores.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I'd probably prioritize the Eternals. So, like, an Eternal is roughly like 3 times the value of a Powerful. When you throw it into calculators, that's roughly how it comes out. So they are priced 200 to 70, so that's roughly that 3-to-1 value. Which means, value-wise, they have the same value, but one of them can actively be gotten in the game, and the other one not really. So that means that as a result, the Eternal Flame has a better value there, I would say. Okay. Because, you know, the other one, you can always just go to the shop, pay 9 mil or whatever it is, but the Eternal ones, you get like none anymore because of the changes to the bosses, so...
Yeah, bad timing on that, but...
Yeah, well, it was bound to happen. But, I mean, if you have like 10,000 left, you might as well buy both of the stacks out.
Yeah, okay.
And, yeah, if the Abzo has decent stuff, move on to the CRA. Yeah, what's next after that? I guess the cup or something? But yeah, you know about the flame scores and how to... Yeah, and like what they aim for, yeah. So if something still has a great promise and a great amount of potential gains from getting a better flame, then just keep flaming that. And if it's a decent flame, move on to the next item.
Okay, cool.
Do you have much more left in terms of stones at that point?
I'll have some scattered throughout my account. Like my Kaiser has a bunch. I bought 2 rings on my Kaiser, and I think he has 3,000 coins left. I think I might turn him into a bossing mule later. It's kind of our plan. We both did that. My Beast Tamer has some as well. Just make some small gains on those characters, I guess.
Oh yeah, we got the symbols, right, for like Lechalan.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, but you're on the DB now. Yeah, right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Transferable.
I guess I could get some symbols on my DB. That's true.
Yeah, too bad all of the boxes are all untradeable. It'd be nice.
I know. I didn't notice that at first, and I was super excited, and then I realized.
Yeah, you went a little bit too hard for the wrong reason.
Yeah, I was like, oh, whoops.
Unfortunate, yeah. Yeah, it's only like the coin and the... And that's it, and the experience coupons isn't even tradable,
yeah. I was hoping the symbols were tradable, honestly, because I know my lack symbol is going to be so slow at first.
No. It's weird that they're limited to how many you can buy per account, but then also limited per character. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I know.
You'd think that if they limit it per character, then that's one thing, but if they limit it per account, you would hope that they would be transferable. Because, I mean, it does mean that the general progression you can get from that piece is limited by the access to the shop, so you still have control over it, so why do you need to control where it's bought also?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just next on things, I guess. Someone's edging closer to my character in game right now. I don't know what's going on there. Alright, circling back. But yeah, I mean, if you really still have left, you could still go for the Master Craftsman cubes, I guess.
Okay.
Reroll on the top and the bottom a little bit. It'll save some money, and it'll open up some some cubes. And if you do still get cubes from the weeklies, then you can throw them on other characters like the Kaiser to prep it for Bossing Mule.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Right, I think if you skipped over anything, talk about the heart, you were working on that already. Monster parking. Talked about all the quips and the backups and the stuff. Then you just need to get a lucky hat. Just get lucky, forehead.
Yeah, that and the scroll.
Yeah. It'll come, I hope. Yeah. You talked about like Star Forcing until Arcane, but it has to do with what set is the weapon part of right now?
It's part of nothing because I'm waiting on the CRA scroll.
Right.
There's just like no reason to make it part of any of the other sets. Because I have a bunch of like the Empress scrolls in my inventory, but it's kind of a waste. I guess I could get plus 300 defense for now.
Yeah. What I heard was like level-wise, you want to keep it low. What was it? It was something about keeping it low level.
Ideally, you want a 22 star it while it's type 7.
Yeah, type 7 at the highest? Okay.
Yes, but I was kind of thinking of... Because I mean, both of these potentials you're looking at, I rolled with less than 1.2 bill. It was kind of an accident.
Yeah. Happy little accident.
And so I kind of just don't want to touch the Star Force on the weapon until Arcane, if I can get away with it.
Yeah, but you mean before you switch into Arcane, right?
Yeah, right before it. Yeah, not after. But like, not worry about it for Abso because I'm pretty happy with that potential.
Yeah, but you don't want to move into Abso, I don't? Well, if you do move into Abso, that does mean you have to commit to full 22 before you go into Arcane, right?
Yeah, I know some zeros have I say some. There's like 2 that are looking at Liberation that just left it at 17 and worked on other stuff. But I don't know. The zero weapon is so weird to me because I sit on the CRA scroll and I just get the essences for Apso and Kane. So I wasn't sure when I should take the chance of booming that. If I should just like try to get through with 17-star Apso and then Star Force it before Arcane, or if I was gonna need to touch it again sooner than that.
Yeah, like, so if you make it into an Abzo and it booms and you like run out of money before you get to 22 and you still want to do like bosses in the meantime again and you want to get back, then you have to like make it into an Abzo again. That's like what I was talking about, I guess. That's why people usually keep it as whatever it is at the lower level, because then you don't lose anything if it does really boom. But if it booms as Abzo or as Arcane, you need to make it Abzo or Arcane again.
Right.
Which is
right,
why you do the 22ing first. So if you do the Abzo stuff, then that's also like the risk, quote unquote, but not as much, of course. And depending on if you want to get backups for that, or if you're fine, like it degrading down back to Fafnir for a while, because you'll probably have plenty of pieces for that.
Yeah, I guess the question is it plausible to keep it at 17 star until I'm ready to go Arcane, or am I going to need the 21, 22 stars during the Abso phase?
Well, I typically advise other people to also just stick to 17 star on their Abso weapons, and their potentials are usually not even as good as yours, so I think you should be fine by then.
Okay, that was my plan, is just sit on this until it's time for Arcane.
Yeah, I think so. It'll depend more, like, if you find that you with the Paladin friend, like, you guys just can't do it, if you have a 21 or 22 weapon versus a 17, I don't think that's going to be the big decision maker, or like, okay, we were totally hopeless before, but now we can do it. Like,
okay,
it's very hardly like one item that gets a certain upgrade that decides like the whole picture.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't screwing myself over with that. So.
Yeah, no, I think I'll be fine. But you need the hat before all of that set bonusing stuff works properly, right?
Yep. Yeah. Which, like I said, I haven't gotten the scroll yet for the weapon anyway.
Oh yeah,
so
you need the scroll.
It doesn't really matter.
Yep. So that's the highlight of your week, is looking for CRAing and CPAP soon. You can start hoping, praying to RNGesus for that one.
I know.
And then the superior drops from Helix. A whole lot of prayer gonna go around.
Yeah, when we were doing it on our dual blade and wind archer, we got like, I think 9 belts before we saw an earring.
Nice. Yeah, I think on my Dell I got nothing for so long, for like 1,300 coins. And then in the last 100 I got belt, earring, like within a week, and then I had enough coins as well, so then it was completely done all of a sudden. But I was like fearing, like, oh my god, I'm only barely halfway. But then in that last 10%, or like in the last 5% of the way, I got the other 50%. So
Nick's on teasing you with
yeah, clutching it out.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be well, I know you can do the grinding. You've shown that with your Legion, so it's going to be mainly a bunch of grinding on this guy and going hard on the symbols. That's
I mean, luckily, this is like, I would probably estimate like 3 times the speed that my dual blade was. My tornadoes and static field are 1 or 2 shotting. I'm pretty excited to get to lower path. Just throw tornadoes out for 20 levels.
Yeah, I heard that one's pretty good.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, or move into the other areas, right? For the familiars earlier. Depends on how much,
I'm actually curious to see if that's worth it. Because I don't know of any Morass maps that are super good for 0. But I know there are some in Asphera, so...
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I don't know if the Shadow Hall maps could be good. It's got a lot of
That's what I'm gonna try out, yeah.
You want those stretched out, long maps. Yeah.
Yeah, just give me 2 long platforms and I'm happy.
Yeah. I bet you would be happy with that. Stand on one side, teleport up, teleport down, teleport up,
Yep.
teleport down, and throw out. Yeah. And you got the, I guess, inner abilities, like the last thing we can touch on a little bit. You got the 20% chance to skip cooldown, which is predominantly like the useful if you're mainly the supportive one, right?
Yeah, it's either that or +1 attack speed. I honestly wanted Meso, but after the 3 build that I had spent, I was just done.
Mm-hmm.
I spent like 7, I think 800k honor in 3 bill on circulators because I was just so furious that I couldn't get it. Which was really dumb.
Rage rolling is always the worst rolling.
Yeah. So now I have like no honor, and I'm just gonna sit on this for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. There's some changes in KMS coming as well, making the inner abilities cheaper to reroll and all that. And I guess depending on how everything goes and how much you guys want to duo everything, that could also shed some light on what the eventual inner ability is that you want to go for. Because if you're like, okay, we do want to do it just the two of us, we think that's doable, and we've done some tests and whatever, then I think you mentioned attack speed +1, but you're also talking about not needing speed infusion anymore. How does that work?
There seems to be no real consensus yet.
Okay.
There's like half of the people are saying no, you still want attack speed +1, just get rid of the speed infusion. Some people are like, no, you do more damage if you have 20% skip. I really like 20% skip. I used Shadow Rain like 5 times in a row the other day, and it was very fun. But I'm just kind of waiting to see what ends up being best when the changes go through.
Yeah. Okay, so it probably depends on what your current situation already is versus what you want to end up going for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Yeah, and then it's easier to just switch out your matrix because you probably have enough things to put in there until they're like 270 plus or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't run out of things to put into slots. So.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, you throw a decent advanced blessing in there. Throw rope lift in there for some passive stats, blink for the passive attack and everything. Yeah, when you think about it, yeah, if that goes at the expense of like 1 line of your inner ability, but I mean like 121 attack or like 10% boss, those are the lines that you're looking at that you're replacing with, which is basically the same as the passive on your matrix. So yeah, it'll probably just depend on how far you're at, like how much you've already dedicated to it, whether or not you want to change it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of same with the attack speed change for the heroes and the paladins, right? If you're already perfect in your current situation, then do you really want to change everything around for like 0.3% final damage or something? If it's like 3%, then maybe, but like if it turns out that it's not that big of a deal, then it's probably better to just stick to what you have right now, reroll the top inner ability, and be done, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you good on... Ooh, wait, you don't have boss damage in your hyperstats. Ooh, I just noticed that. What is this? Is it on EXP right now, or?
No, I think that's it right now. I think what you see is
19.
what I have.
Oh yeah, you're level 210. Yeah, 215. Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, I haven't paid too much attention to it because it's 10 mil to reset, and I was just doing what I needed to do to level.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna. I don't know. Should I take it out of IED as well as out of IED and Legion? Because I know I also need 5 into Time Force for beta to be at 150 for some of the combos.
Oh yeah. Well, those low levels are going to be very cheap comparative to the higher ones very soon. I mean, I think you're going to be leveling so fast that it doesn't really matter where you place it. By the time you really start doing serious bosses, they'll all be topped off anyway. If you get the Time Force to 5 and then get the boss damage up to 10, you can do that, I think, by the time you're like level 235 or something. So then you should be good for like Lotus Damien and maybe trying up some easy Lucid or something.
Okay, and should I still be looking to get that IED to 10, or?
No, I keep it here and then see where you're at, because I mean, like I said, right? Like in that party, if you're at 80% visual, then you're functionally at 95. So even above once the boost nodes and everything kick in, so you can drop a whole lot of IED and still be completely fine.
Yeah, and I mean that 93 right there is. I mean, I'm not in a party. I don't have my familiars on.
Yeah,
it's kind of absurd.
Kind of, yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, yeah, you go from one character to another, and then some things are way better, some things are way worse, and yeah. I mean, you said the
Yep.
mobbing was better, the ID is better, but then, you know, the burst compared to dual blade is very different, so...
Yeah, it's weird not being the one who's just
Destroying.
shitting out damage all the time.
Yeah.
I give him a hard time because when we're doing carries, my carries are like 2 minutes faster than his.
Give him shit for it. And then he's like, okay, do BAs during the boss fight. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, alright, I think, unless I'm missing anything big that you see, I think I feel pretty good until, like, once we get into Absolab and we're pushing Arcane, I'll probably come back with questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as long as you keep the long-term prep going, like you get into the Lucids, you get into the Wills early on, because you do need a lot of items there, so the sooner you get that started, the sooner you can actually buy the items. Yeah, buy the core droplets. I wouldn't buy the meso ones right now. Save up enough until then, but you know there'll be way more income coming your way once you get all the drop and meso gear ready, and like I mean I guess like wealth potions and all of that. I mean you know about those experience accumulation potions and those.
Yeah.
If you want to do the 2-hour sessions, throw in some totems, get your Legion coins up because you're not spending them on epots anymore, and then you can
I'll
start
get
making
that
some
this
crazy
week.
rates. So you'll have a lot of money to work with.
Cool. That's my duo in chat asking if DB has Gale Barrier.
It does not. No Gale Barrier. Zero has kind of a Gale Barrier though. Got that HP shield that comes up sometimes and
yeah,
this weird thing.
it's just funny because he'll get me killed sometimes because he'll have Gale Barrier on. We call it a drive-by. He'll just fly over my head and I'll die to a Vellum tail following him or something.
Nice.
But
yeah, it's always fun doing those bosses together. It's a different dimension, and it's kind of sad though. Yeah, like you said, that some bosses are just easier to solo than to duo.
Well, I mean, we just have no utility. We're not helping each other at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty bad. We throw out our Urda Nova every 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, oh yeah, the cooldown on those is beautiful. And now you have like binds for days.
Yeah, now it's like, okay, has it been 90 seconds? Can we bind again? So, I think I feel pretty good for now. So.
Yep. All right. Well, then I wish you best of luck on all the RNG reliant things, and I hope you feel more confident with your characters soon and do those long stretch out 30-minute normal lucid clear duos. I'll look forward to the YouTube video.
Yeah, I'll put them up for sure. So.
Yeah, you throw that up on Reddit. I think people like that kind of out there stuff. That's not, not too many people are doing that. I think people appreciate
absolutely.
that. All right, well, good luck to you and Dark Yoshimo, and I'll see you around.
All right, I appreciate it.
All right, no problem. See ya. So yeah, quite specific session, People trying to play the game a certain way, so I tried to adjust with all the advice. I think, you definitely saw some similarities with all the other sessions that I do, but also some stuff a little bit different. And yeah, I hope they have some great success with the two of them. It seems like they're buddies playing it up, so you should be able to get through those long boss fights, giving each other some shit, keeping each other focused when necessary. But I feel good about this one. Yeah, you have so much IED at this point. You can just... Like that 93 visual without familiars out, completely unbuffed solo. So for people who don't know, Zero has a debuff that you can keep on the boss. It's like a little shield that you can stack up to... I think it's to 10% stacks 5 times, or it's 5% stack 10 times or something like that. But it gives up to 50% IED on the target that you're hitting. And then Paladin has basically the same with Threaten, which is, I believe, a 20% that you can hyper skill up to 50%, which doesn't last the full duration of the Threaten, only for a certain duration. But as long as you use Threaten enough, you basically have 2 debuffs of 50% IED. So if you have functionally 80%, one of the 50% lines gets you from 80 to 90, and then the other one gets you from 90 to 95. So you can have almost no IED going into these boss fights and functionally still be just fine, which means you can go super hard on damage and not have to worry about the IED for these classes. But again, you worry about the IED, but only up to a certain point, right? So make sure you go into IED, get that functional IED calculated and all that stuff if you're ever worried about that, if you're putting out enough damage to the bosses. And make sure you check the boss grid, of course, with links to all the bosses. You can see how much PDR they have so that you know how much IED you need. And when in doubt, just check out the progression grid and just look. If you're far off of something, invest there. If you're over on something, You don't have to invest there, but of course that's probably what you like the most, so also keep doing that a little bit to keep the fun going in the game. All right, as always, if you want one of these sessions, or you have data for me that will help the community, battle analyses, monster skill per hour, training videos, or you want to join the EU or NA Scardor Guild, there's links for that in the description of the video. I'll thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this was educational for you, and I'll see you